Welcome in, everybody. Film Room, dedicated to Dillon Gabriel's performance yesterday, just like we did for Shedeur Sanders the week before. I cut up all of the offensive snaps from the first half of the game because that's what I want to focus on in Dillon's performance and some of the offensive linemen who are in at this juncture. I think it's an important way to analyze the whole process, and we'll talk through it all. All right. So mostly going to stop on Gabriel's dropbacks and analyze him, but we will kind of roll through the run game and see what we see there and maybe try to spend more time on that later this week. All right, let's get going. So the first snap from scrimmage, which I will try to highlight this week, is like just a great example of wide zone and really two blocks that determine whether a run is going to go, 20 yards or maybe 4 or 5. There's just keen examples of the things that need to happen to create the run alley, right? Because you watch Seattle run some things against the Chiefs earlier this week, or even go back and watch the Browns when they were at their best running wide zone. You would get a lot of these key blocks that would happen to spring those run lanes. And really, here's a great look at Whippler setting his man up, a great ace kick down here and ability to climb. This is all set up really well in this moment, as long as we take care of these blocks right here. And as we kind of go through it, you'll see, this is, again, exactly what you want. The things you can't do is you got to get this block taken care of. You got to continue to either get your head around to create this lane, or if your head's on the other side, drive him past. Take this guy right here, drive him past the hole, right? So that you can create that lane. And then we got to get the backside cut off so we don't get pursuit down the line that causes a problem. But this is really set up to be a big run. It's just we miss the key blocks that we needed to get, because Whippler does a good enough job on his, and his congestion causes an issue for the down the line pursuit. We just needed to get this guy either by the hole or cut off, and then Zenter's head has got to be in a better place. He's got to make that block. That's going to be a huge topic in the offensive line room. Again, how a run goes from 4 yards to 25 yards on one play. Said we won't stop on a ton of run, but we just did a long one on the first breakdown. Now we're getting an odd front here from Philly. So they're running a 3-4 look. They're kind of running some of that mint stuff that's very popular. And what we have to do is understand protection. So we're going to play it through, and then we'll talk about it from the tight view. We obviously get a free runner from the second level. That second level runner creates a sack. So yeah, this is a look here at how we're identifying the mic. You will see Whippler identify right here. He's using a little hand gesture to identify where they're turning and what's the look. So what we have to understand is who are the possible pressures, right? So if we understand a possible pressure is right here, this creates the fourth man. We have to know where we're turning, where we're passing, and who's responsible for any second level threats. Now, the Browns got a little creative in this game at times, put Jamari Thrash in the backfield here. They will motion him out, and that puts us into empty personnel, which makes protection even a little trickier. You got to set up and run for empty, right? So we got to know who our threats are, because we do get this edge walk back down, which means our tackle has to be cognizant of any edge rusher here. And once he notices he's not coming, he's going to take this pass off from this wide 3 tech. So really what we need to secure, if we're turning to the shade, which is obviously this block here, because we can't turn away from this unless we're all full sliding, which is a possibility. And if we're all full sliding and we leave the backside to handle the edge, that means the quarterback would be responsible for here, right? That's how it works. That's how empty protection works. The problem is we don't do a good enough job of working this triangle right here. Okay, so we have to handle 2 over 3, so we got to figure out who's hot, who's not. So if he comes, I think you have Barton ready, and then we got to take them first down, and then the quarterback would be responsible for throwing off of this one. But if they don't bring 3, we have to be able to tandem these 2 right here with a solution. So Zenter on his drop back is 2 full turn. You see how he's 2 full turn here? He's got to be able to keep that right hand extended and notice when it's time to pass that off, which he does. He's just too late to turn back, right? It's just too late to turn back. So they got to clean up this protection. It's not rocket science protection, but we got to get it cleaned up. Now, As far as the throw option, let's go back and look at it from the wide view, because this is a quarterback drop back, right? So when you get this right here, this motion into the slot, we have to decide who's covering. He's kind of dancing inside, so I understand Dillon with the idea that he might be blitzing. This one right here might be blitzing. We're going to stick out, and we're going to I think we're going to run a hitch on this one. So I don't think it's a bad concept to be looking right side initially if you're picking side, because again, you can see, feel out, you're going to get a quarter drop right here. He's going to drop under this. We're going to get double stick on the left side. So you're going to get two outbreakers, most likely with a vertical, or you're going to get shock. I don't even know the full play yet. I'm watching it this is the first time I'm watching it. You'll get like shock where they'll take a slot fade, they'll take a hitch, and then they'll take a stick where he can turn it inside, or he'll turn it outside based on leverage. Now, my two options are, I feel like I have pretty good leverage against this hook defender right here, can throw that, or if I like the right side because I feel like pressure's coming, I can throw off of this man right here onto my out route. Right? So that's his thought process. I think I got something right side against this motion out wide receiver. Now he drops out. Once he punches out and you identify this is covered up because he's got leverage and he's running into him, there's not a good angle. We got to understand that what is the quickest answer that we can possibly find, right? What's the quickest answer based on I'm in empty, my internal clock is sped up. How do I get to my next option in the concept? It would be this stick right here. So yes, two things can be true simultaneously. We got a free runner. This is chaos. Zenter is late to get to it, but we would like to still be able to find this quick answer and be able to throw that stick against good leverage right here. You see that answer? We'd like to be able to still get to that. Now the play is dead because the protection's dead and it's tough. But if you want to say, hey, how does Dillon or any of these young quarterbacks, Shedeur included, how do they get to the next level? Well, protection breaks down on this play, but we can still find, right, as he punches out, and he's got a pretty good window here to see this, right? He can still find this answer right here for a quick throw. That's how we get to the next level. We don't take this sack. Now, as he punches out here, is he too blinded by his offensive tackle who has lost leverage and he's, first drop back in the NFL? I understand why this wouldn't come to being a completion, but I'm just saying, like, when he gets more comfortable, when he gets better, this is the type of throw you need to make as you punch away, and he does a good enough job punching away here to create a little bit of extra time. That's where we need to get to. But overall, this is a protection breakdown, and, it's a 4-yard loss, not entirely on the quarterback, right? It's not entirely on the quarterback there. That's a team sack, as that stat is like to say. So we get a little yo-yo motion in and out on this snap. This is a 3rd and 10. We picked up 4, we lose 4. So let's run it through and then let's talk about it. It's a fun little concept, good wrinkle. All right, let's run it back. We're gonna get again. This is a pretty fun one. So we got options. We got a 2-man option, and then we got a backside mesh option that is pretty fun. So we're gonna get a sail route to the sticks from number 2 over here, outside release takeoff to try to drive off coverage, so we can identify who's playing intermediate. Is it a cover 2 look right here, which is possibly what it could be, or if you see teams play down corners into the tight side of the field, what's called the boundary, the short side, you will see teams play what's called cover 6, which is over here, a cover 2 variation. So we have a down player, right? And then we have a drop cover 2 player over top. A lot of teams like to run this coverage when you're dealing with really good wide receivers who corners could use some over the top help. And then you'll get quarters right to the field. I've talked about this over the years. Curl hook defender right here. Sorry, curl flat defender. You get a hook dropper to the 3-man side. This is like, why is it called cover 6, Jake? Well, it's cover 2 on this side, cover 4 on this side. What's the math equal? You tell me. 6. There we go. So that's what I'm thinking as the quarterback. So as we punch out, let's see what we get. We actually get a little form of what might be called cover 6 Willie, which is man coverage by these 2 backside players. So he's in man. All right. And then we're getting a man variation coming down here to cover this tight end. That's possible as we come off the snap. Now, Dillon's reading this triangle. You see his eyes cranked all the way over here. He's reading this right side triangle to see who is going to be his best option right side. If he can throw the sail at the sticks, let's throw it, right? If we don't feel good about it, we work back middle. Now, coming back to this side, we get a couple different things happening. We get a slide route from the back where he steps up through the line and slides left, and we get a shallow as an option, a late option from the backside X, which was Tillman right here. So he's running this shallow, and then we get a dig over top. Well, and it's even deeper, a dig near the sticks as a late option. This is a good concept, because what does it do, Jake? Why do you like it? Well, it puts a high-low conflict in place right here because you got an outbreaker that somebody's got to cover, or a dig behind it that someone's got to cover, while also giving you two things simultaneously, right? It gives you this option. If you like the leverage to throw the sail in rhythm, you can throw that, right? And if you don't like it, your eyes naturally will be in line with a possible throw to 19 right here, Cedric Tillman on the shallow. So let's see as it unfolds, right? The pressure off the high side on his right, we don't like it enough to throw it. Could we throw this? Possibly. It would have to be thrown right here because he's coming into the break. It'd have to be thrown right here. We don't like it enough to throw it based on pre-snap. And why you would say, okay, Jake, why doesn't he like why won't we throw this pre-snap? Because this leverage, you can't see it very well. Maybe we'll see it from the tight view on the end zone side. He has inside leverage. He is on this inside shoulder, or sorry, the outside shoulder. Jesus, I'm on the outside shoulder. So he is trying to force an in-breaker at all costs, because what does he have back here? He has help, right? So he's trying to force an in-breaker. Okay. Trying to force an in-breaker. So I don't like the leverage right here. And look, what Philly might be running as I'm watching this, and there's some man match principles that happen on these things, but it's got some look of maybe a just cover one. Could be as simple as that. They're saying a high sitting single safety, and then a low hole player right here. That could be possibly it, but I think this is more, in my opinion, like a cover six man match side, where we're getting man to the boundary, and then we're getting quarter zone to the high side of the field. But anyway, I digress. This is not a leverage I like for an outbreaking route, because he's on his outside shoulder and I don't like it. So at this moment, I don't feel good about that, right? So also paired with that issue is high side pressure that we have to step up and move away from. So we're stepping up and through it, and we're trying to process who's covering the shallow. Does it have a chance? Who's covering my back on the slide out, right? And then who's covering the dig? We have to process a lot as this pocket is getting chaotic behind us. So we step up, and now we got to process it. Who's coming open? Well, they cut off the shallow pretty well. We got a chance right here, but we need to sort out who's covering who. If the Eagles did it right, they would send 21 back with his eyes seeing the flat, and then this linebacker would stay with the dig. But the concept, which I like, puts a lot of people in conflict. The scheme puts a lot of people in conflict. So Philly has the accidental mistake of dropping down here with two guys, and that leaves us an open dig, which we get to. This is nice, right? This is really nice. The Eagles do a nice job in terms of some elements of this. They pass this off, so we're running with him, and then the low hole sitter takes it, passes it off, right? The middle hook, and then he drops back in coverage behind it. But the dig comes open because of miscommunication, and we find it. This is really well done. Really well done. I like the route concept. The coverage was still pretty good up until like the 4th second. So it's not like this was an easy read to get where you needed to get to. Jake, why did they bring him in motion? That doesn't make sense. Like, what's the point of in and out? Well, he wants to come in and out to do two things. Tell us if he's coming all the way over these linebackers, probably man, right? If he goes back with you, a couple things can be true, right? You can get better leverage on an outbreaking route because you're snapping it with more possibility of a two-way go instead of having the sidelines as his friend. So that's an opportunity. And we get that coverage indicator. We like all of that. So we coming out left side, we don't like it. He eliminates it, right? Feel the high side pressure, step up and read. We can't get to the see him try to identify the shallow right here. Can't get to the shallow, doesn't like it. Then it's about sort of hanging in. Watch him use his right hand there, puts his right hand on the back. He's not panicking in here, right? You're trying to figure out where you're stepping, sliding. He's trying to find windows to throw, man. This is what you got to do as a short quarterback. Some people are like, well, you know, he's being chaotic. He can't handle pressure. No, this is good. This is good. He's trying to slide. He's trying to see, right? You can see him peeking around. You got to find passing windows. He's peeking around. So he sees this is going to be covered. Doesn't like it. Knows this is covered. Boxed up by these two. Doesn't like it. So what do we need to get to? We need to get to our dig, and he knows it. Remain poised. Hand on the back right there. Kind of just create enough space to see that passing window unfold. And look at that. That's good. 3rd and 10 conversions are huge. We love 3rd and 10 conversions. We'll take it every time. All right, let's let the film run here. I think we got a little set draw. Keep it moving. I'm going to sort of scroll through some of this at times too. And like I said, we'll talk through it as we get to this view. Pretty good double team block. We're getting the tight end up on the linebacker. I need Zenter to just be a little more physical. And then Whiteheart in here needs to do a better job of also, hey, man, you got to clear that SOB out. You can't dance with him, 86. You got to clear him out to give us a chance to take this where we need to take it, because the pathway to something successful here is we get this shield right here. We need to be a little more physical. We get him driven out, and then we got a one-on-one in the hole with 24, and we like one-on-ones with DBs instead of linebackers, where you're trying to collision them close line scrimmage. Okay, that's what we're trying to do. But we're also fine with picking up 4 or 5 yards on a first down draw. That's something we're good with. Now, 3-by-1 nub tight end. If you hear me say nub tight end, it's like, you know, it's like a short leg. Well, we're saying we don't have anything wide to this side of the field. We have a nub tight end in the line of scrimmage, hand in the dirt. We're going to motion. Now we're in 2-by-2. We're going to run a little backfield run action in the backfield. This is not true run action because the guys up front are pass blocking. Look at both tackles and the guards. This is pass blocking. But we are using this look right here in the backfield to try to see if we can hold these guys down for just a split second, because it looks like it could be some sort of wide zone run play. Right, it's a whole bunch of trickeration happening all the time. Everybody's doing their best to trick somebody else. All right, so what do we have here? We have a couple different things. We have a switch release from the bottom of the field. We're going to get a post combo with a sail route from the tight end that we can read out and throw if we have good leverage against, I think this is 24. We like that. We got a switch release. I think you're going to get a deep dig from Tillman. That's not Tillman, Deontay Johnson. And then Thrash is going to be releasing inside and then providing that backside intermediate on the play as well. So let's watch through, see what we get. Where do we get to? Pretty clean protection, except for the left tackle does lose his man. We don't like the front side. Why do we not like the front side upon the drop back? We know this is bracketed because we're getting an in-breaking post, and we know the safety's driving on it. We know the other high safety who rolls down last second gives us the cover 3 indicator. He's collisioning right here. So if we roll through and look at it, we don't like our leverage on this outbreaker. So I have eliminated these two, which he has done. They're not options. Next thing we have to do is get our eyes onto our next option, which is going to be this intermediate behind it, and then this late deep dig that could be the backside dig. You know, I love to find those, right? We don't have a good window to throw Thrash right here because we have the middle hook defender sitting in here. And then it's about, can we find the backside dig as we step up? Now, obviously, at this moment of impasse, we have DeJuan Jones has lost his man to the high side. So we're in a little bit of trouble. Does a good job of kind of step climbing and then punching out left. Let's find this answer right here. He's leaving the pocket. Let's be collected enough to know that we have an opportunity still to throw one route at this point, which is the dig. So let's keep our eyes downfield, and we can put some mark, step out, slide, drop it over this linebacker's head, and have a nice gain on this second and 6 play. You see it right here? We want to be able to punch out. This moment, there's nobody middle. We got to put this ball to him right here as we step and slide. Right? He can't run very well, so goes down with the hamstring issue. Makes sense. But that's just the gist of what we're looking at, why a ball's not thrown. And where, again, just like earlier I talked about when he faced pressure and, hey, let's, that's a really tough, that's like super, what they call it, AAA anticipation, all caps. if you could have thrown that sail on the first one. This is another one where if he's hitting these, you feel really good about him hitting this would be like, okay, this is Sunday stuff. Like right now, he should start if he's pinning these down. But I think this is a great job. The top of your drop, you've read it out. This leverage on the outbreaker, it ain't happening, buddy. It's not happening. He knows that. He reads it out. What's his next option? Well, the next option is right here, but we got an issue with 54 Trotter sitting underneath this as he gets his eyes off of the issue. See that right side? Can't throw that. Now I'm getting middle, but I don't feel good about throwing that. But I also, again, simultaneously recognize we have this issue bubbling up right here off of his left side that's going to need aggressive pocket climb. Now, when you aggressive pocket climb, what do you have to be cognizant of? Could he run? Sure. But this player, this D tackle, is going to be able to, separate and get to you in that pathway that you perceive is open. So I like that as he steps up, he sells run and then gets his foot in the ground and punches back out right there, because that's how you get out of the pocket in that chaos. But you can see the feet of Johnson right here. I think Deontay Johnson. This is the ball we want to throw. If he gets to this throw at this moment, that's when you'll know Dillon Gabriel will be ready to start on Sundays. Not there yet. Didn't make it. Let's keep watching. All right. So now we have a tight end trips. This is more of like a tray set. Tight end on the ball, 2 off. We're going to motion out of tray, get back into 2x2. What do we get? Hey, Jake, why do they do motion? Well, I got man-to-man indicators, man. I got a guy running with him. If I got man indicators, I like that. Man everywhere. And they're heating us up. Heating us up. Bringing 2 and a spy. 1 and a spy. All right, so why do they do that motion? How does this motion help us? Interesting. I'll tell you. Snapping this football when these 2 are stacked is all about creating leverage. It's all about leverage. We're going to push vertical through the 2 defenders. And what does that do for the trail defender? It creates the two-way go that he needs to run the correct route, leverage, deliver the football. So watch how he creates leverage, and we have now an inside shade. See how he's on his inside shoulder, the feet are tilted. He's taking away anything in breaking, because why? Why would they take away anything in breaking, Jake? Well, what they don't have a low hole sitter. What happened? They blitzed the low hole player. So we only have 1 player. So now the DBs are thinking, at least somewhat, we're trying to use the sideline as my benefit here. Sometimes it's impossible. You'll see here, you're just going to have to stick with him. But the stack motion does a great job of creating confusion about how should I handle these 2 impacting me. That creates a little bit of wiggle room for that outbreaking route from Thrash, on-time throw, right on the money. Little high, would like to make this easier, but we're talking far hash against a pressure look. Just like I said yesterday or last week, Shedor's got to get those slant routes down. This is not precise, but it's pretty accurate. It could be a little lower, could be an easier catch, but it is the correct leverage away from the trail DB. If he leaves this inside, he leaves it in here. Think Jameis Winston Broncos game into the game last year where he left that out route inside, got picked off in return for a touchdown. That's what we're talking about. So this is good. Good accuracy, not elite precision, but good accuracy. And we love picking up 3rd and 5s.